Do you want to improve your English while learning about the most famous woman in science? Marie Curie's life was a battle against poverty and toxic elements, but her genius could not be stopped. We tell her powerful story with clear words so you can master new vocabulary and history simultaneously. Welcome to English Story Mindset. I am very happy you are here today. Take a slow breath, make yourself comfortable, and let the story begin. Imagine you want to read the private notebooks of one of the greatest scientists in history. You travel to a library in Paris. You ask to see the books, but the librarian says, yes, but first you must sign a special document. This document says you understand the risk. These notebooks, written more than 100 years ago, are still radioactive today. They are stored in lead-lined boxes. Lead is a heavy metal that blocks radiation. To hold one of these books is to touch something still alive with energy even after a century. Those notebooks belong to Marie Curie, and this is her story. The year was 1867. A girl was born in the city of Warsaw in Poland. Her name was Maria Sklodowska. Later, the whole world would know her as Marie Curie. But when Maria was born, Poland was not a free country. It was controlled by the Russian Empire. The Russian rulers controlled everything, including what children learned. Schools could not teach Polish history or use the Polish language. Everything was taught in Russian. Maria's father was a teacher of mathematics and physics. He had a good job before, but the Russian authorities did not trust him. They removed him from his position, and the family became poor. Despite this, her father believed in education. He kept his scientific instruments at home, glass tubes and measuring tools. Young Maria would look at these objects for a long time. She wanted to understand how everything worked. Maria was an exceptional student with a remarkable memory. She could read at the age of 4. At school, she answered every question correctly, even though the lessons were in Russian. Her teachers noticed that she stood apart from others. However, one door was firmly closed to her. Girls could not attend university in Warsaw. They were not accepted simply because they were women. For Maria, this was a painful wall. She wanted to study science, but the door was locked. So she and her friends found another way. A group of young women in Warsaw started their own secret school. They called it the Floating University because the location was always changing. One week, classes were in a kitchen. The next week, they were in a quiet back room. They moved constantly so the Russian police would not find them. It was dangerous, but they kept studying anyway. Finally, Marie made a pact, a serious agreement with her older sister, Bronya. Here was the plan. Maria would work as a governess to earn money. A governess is a woman who lives with a family and teaches their children. Maria would send her salary to Paris so that Bronya could study medicine at university there. And when Bronya finished her studies, she would send money back so that Maria could come to Paris and study as well. It was a plan that required great patience and sacrifice, giving up something important for a larger goal. Maria worked as a governess for 5 years. She spent 5 years in other people's houses far from Warsaw and her family. She taught other people's children while her own dreams waited. She sent almost everything she earned to her sister in Paris and kept only enough money to survive. But she did not waste those 5 years. At night, when the children were asleep and the house was quiet, she opened her books to study mathematics, physics, and chemistry. She wrote long letters to Bronya asking for reading suggestions. She taught herself as much as she could without a teacher or a classroom. She was preparing herself for a future she could not see yet, but she refused to stop believing in it. Then, at the age of 24, Marie finally got on a train to Paris. The year was 1891. Paris was the center of the scientific world. The Sorbonne, the great university of Paris, was one of the finest in Europe. Unlike Warsaw, the Sorbonne accepted women students. When Marie arrived, she made a quiet but meaningful decision. She changed the spelling of her name from the Polish Maria to the French Marie. She was not hiding her identity, she was stepping into a new world. She was ready. However, life in Paris was not easy. She lived in a tiny room near the university with no heating. In winter, she could see her own breath inside the room. Sometimes the water in her washing bowl froze overnight. She had almost no money. Some days she ate only bread and a little chocolate. Sometimes she fainted from hunger during her lectures, but she kept studying. She sat in the great university halls as one of the very few women in the room. Some male students and professors found it unusual to see a woman there, but Marie did not look at them. She looked at the board and filled her notebooks. She worked harder than almost anyone around her. In 1893, she finished her degree in physics and graduated first in her class. 1 year later, she completed a second degree in mathematics and graduated second. Think about that for a moment. She studied in a frozen room, ate almost nothing, and worked in a language that was not her own. Yet she finished at the top of her class twice. The world was not finished giving her challenges, and she was not finished answering them. It was in Paris that Marie met a quiet and gentle man named Marie Curie. He was a physicist, a scientist who studies the physical world. They began to talk about science, and then they began to talk about everything. In 1895, they married. Marie wore a dark blue dress to the wedding, not white. She could not afford a dress she would only wear once, so she chose blue because it was practical and dark. It was a dress she could also wear in the laboratory. That small detail tells you a great deal about Marie Curie. Together, they worked in a small, damp laboratory. The building was cold in winter and too hot in summer. The walls leaked and the roof was low. By almost any measure, it was not a proper place for great science, but they kept working. They were investigating something that a scientist named Henri Becquerel had recently observed. Certain natural materials seemed to produce invisible rays, energy that could pass through solid objects without any obvious source. Nobody fully understood this yet. Marie began to study it more deeply, and she made a discovery that changed the history of science. She found that these invisible rays did not come from two materials reacting together. Instead, they came from inside the atoms of the material itself. It was a quality of the matter built into its very structure. She gave this quality a name. She called it radioactivity. The word comes from the Latin radius, which means ray. She chose activity because the material is always producing energy and is always active. That word was her invention, radioactivity. In 1898, Marie and Pierre made an announcement that surprised the scientific world. They had found two new elements, materials that exist in nature but had never been identified before. They named the first one polonium. This name comes from Polonia, which is the Latin name for Poland. At that time, Poland was still not a free country. By naming this element after her homeland, Marie told the world that Poland exists and it matters. They named the second element radium, from the word for ray. This material produced a beautiful, soft blue glow in the dark. In their cold laboratory at night, they could see it shining on the shelves. It was a light that no one had ever seen before. To produce even a tiny amount of pure radium, Marie and Pierre had to process several tons of a mineral called pitchblende. They did this by hand, stirring, filtering, and separating the material in their cold room for years. The physical work was very hard, and they needed great patience. But slowly, a small and glowing thing appeared from tons of ordinary rock. In 1903, Marie Curie received the Nobel Prize in Physics. A Nobel Prize is one of the highest honors in the world, given to people who do great work in science, literature, or peace. She shared the prize with Pierre and Henri Becquerel. She was the first woman in history to receive a Nobel Prize. However, in 1906, something terrible happened. On a rainy afternoon in Paris, Pierre was crossing a crowded street. He did not see a fast horse-drawn carriage in time. He was knocked down and died that same day. Marie was suddenly alone. She lost her partner, her best friend, and the person who believed in her more than anyone else. For a long time, she felt deep grief, and the world seemed empty. Marie continued working after her loss. The University of Paris offered her Pierre's teaching position, and she accepted. By doing this, she became the first woman to teach as a full professor at the Sorbonne. On her first day, the lecture hall was full of students and journalists who wanted to see this historic moment. She began her talk at the exact point where Pierre had finished his last lecture, as if he had never left. In 1911, Marie received a second Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry, for discovering polonium and radium. To this day, she is the only person in history to win Nobel Prizes in two different sciences. However, even with these honors, the French Academy of Sciences refused to accept her as a member because she was a woman. During the First World War, Marie designed mobile X-ray vehicles. She called them Little Curies and drove them to field hospitals near the front lines herself. These machines helped doctors find broken bones and pieces of metal inside wounded soldiers. It is estimated that her work helped more than 1 million soldiers. In 1934, Marie Curie died at the age of 66. Her illness was caused by many years of exposure to radiation. The very thing she discovered and studied eventually made her ill. Her notebooks are still radioactive today. Marie was told from the beginning that science was not for her simply because she was a woman. The world said no in many different ways, but she kept going anyway. In the darkness of her laboratory, there was always a soft blue glow, the light of radium born from her invisible hard work. Now, I want to say something to you. Maybe English still feels difficult or slow for you right now, but remember, every word you learn is like a small glow of light. Every sentence that becomes clearer is light you are making. Be steady, just like Marie Curie. Keep listening, keep learning, and keep glowing. If you enjoyed this story and want to improve your English every day, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new lesson. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next story.